Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lighting Deep Dives. We are Sea Turtle Conservancy, a Florida-based nonprofit organization and the oldest sea turtle conservation group in the world. Come join our lighting team members as we sit down with real-world professionals to discuss the challenges with beachfront lighting and explore innovative solutions to help protect sea turtles from disorientation. In today's episode, our Senior Lighting Project Specialist, Emily Wooley, will be speaking about interior lights with Executive Director of the Anna Maria Island Turtle Watch, Kristen Mazzarella, and Code Compliance Officer for the City of Holmes Beach, Jayson Clayton. So let's dive in.
So welcome, Kristen and Jayson. Thank you so much for being here today. I figured we could kind of start off just with our guests. Can you describe your roles and how this relates to beachfront lighting?
Sure, I'll start. Like you said, I'm a code officer here at the City of Holmes Beach, and one of the things I take care of out here is the beach side of our city. During turtle season, I'm out there doing lighting inspections or lighting surveys, pulling stuff off the beach, filling in holes, spreading the good word about sea turtles, and working hand in hand with Kristen.
Thanks, Jayson. And as the director of Anna Maria Island Turtle Watch, we hold a marine turtle permit. So we monitor all the sea turtle nests on the beach, which includes looking for hatches and the direction of travel of both the hatchlings and the adults, and reporting any disorientations to FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, as well as people like Jayson in each of the townships on the island.
Thank you again both for being here today. So with this episode, as I mentioned, we are going to discuss interior lights. So of course that is, as it sounds, these are going to be lights that are coming from a home, a business, a condominium that is either beachfront or even a little bit set back from the beach so you can still maybe see those interior lights. So I was wondering, what sort of lights do you see that are kind of the most problematic when we're talking about these interior lights? Are there certain types of fixtures maybe that are more common? And then of course, what sort of impact do these lights have on our wildlife, in particular sea turtles?
Yeah, so in terms of what interior lights that we're seeing the most out here in Holmes Beach, it's mostly going to be coming from residential houses. We only have a few commercial properties that are beachfront. So we're dealing with a lot of just lamps, chandeliers. There's lots of new construction on the beach, and with new construction comes lots of windows, lots of glass, even TVs. If the TV is facing out to the beach, and, at night, common household lights that most people really probably don't think much about when they're setting up their house.
And these lights can be just as bright as our exterior lights in some instances, correct?
Oh, yeah, especially the chandeliers. I've seen some very extravagant chandeliers.
And how they can impact sea turtles is it's kind of a negative impact because sea turtles use light as a cue to find their way to the water. If they see a brighter light from an artificial source like these interior lights, they will head towards those interior lights instead of the water, and that may lead them into dangerous situations.
And how do you actually go about addressing these interior lighting issues then? We have the unique privilege this morning for speaking with both the code enforcement officer as well as Sea Turtle Monitor for a specific area. So from these two different kind of viewpoints, how are you tackling this issue?
A lot of outreach, and on new construction, they have to follow our ordinance regarding sea turtle glass. But even on older construction, it's a big thing is making them aware of it. We have a large number of rental properties on our island, so we're dealing with a household that changes every week. So really, just getting materials out there, building relationships with the property owners or the rental companies, and blinds, curtains, rearranging furniture. I haven't really had much pushback when it comes to. At first, they're a little thrown off because you're talking about the lamp inside my house. But then you gotta explain to them, this is what it is, this is what it does, and this is what it does for you. And when you explain to them that it's for the turtles and you don't want turtles ending up on their property, Always. Oh, of course. Whatever for the turtles. We'll do that. But then we deal with having to reiterate that over and over again, just because it's not the same people living in the house every day.
For us as a monitoring agency, we don't actually do any addressing directly with the property owner, but if they are witness to a disorientation where they're finding hatchlings underneath their house, we often will educate them and say, were there any lights on last night, and kind of do a discussion with them about how lights impact turtles. And they usually respond pretty quickly to that, especially seeing the cute little hatchling, and are happy that it's safe. In addition to that, we monitor the beach every day. So as we're driving along or walking our patrols, we may notice some lights on very early in the morning. And if we see that, that's when we'll notify Jayson, hey, there's some lights on at this property. Do you think you could talk to those people?
And that's great that you guys have such a wonderful community approach to dealing with these lights, that, you and Jayson have a great working relationship, that you can have those conversations, because, we can't be on the beach in every location at every moment. So having, those boots on the ground on multiple different fronts to come together, I think is really wonderful.
And it's very helpful because we can be proactive. So it's nice that that works.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and when Kristen will reach out to me and tell me about an address, I'll go make contact with whoever's at the house. Again, it's usually a renter, so I'll explain to them, and then once I get done with them, I'll reach out to the property manager and let them know, hey, I made contact with your guest about X, Y, and Z. Look at when the house gets empty, look at remedying the issue for the next guest.
And to that line, have you found any outreach items that are particularly important when you're speaking to, that renter as opposed to maybe the homeowner? Or Kristen, when you're out on the beach doing your turtle talks, like, is there any sort of item or strategies, I guess I should say, that really have been really effective in your area?
Well, for us, we have a couple things. I'm not sure of the effectiveness, but I do know that certain people use them, and some of the properties will be like, hey, we need more of these, because they like get sent out a lot. They send out a lot of them. People like them. So one of the things that we have is just educating people about sea turtles. It doesn't even have much about lights on them, but it has the sea turtle tracks, and the adult turtles, and the hatchlings, and what they look like, so that people can be like, hey, I'm going to be out there and be a kind of a turtle patroller too. Like, I can identify these nests, and I can make sure that the houses, if I see a house that's got lights on during the night, I can say, hey, there's a turtle nest in front of their house, and let somebody of authority know what to do about that. In addition to that, we have window clings, and the window clings can go on the windows. A lot of places put things in packets, and those packets, I mean, I personally going to properties and things like that, I don't always read all the stuff in every packet that I get. So it's nice to have something that's either on the refrigerator or on the window to kind of remind people, or to set them like, well, why do I have to close the blinds for turtles? And then they learn more about it. So we do that, and then we do turtle talks, and we talk to people on the beach, and so we educate them. But those are the big items. Things like door hangers and table tents are also helpful, more than just a pamphlet or a flyer, that sort of thing.
Most of our rental companies go above and beyond when it comes to putting material and trying to get the word out to their guests to say, hey, you are vacationing in a special area. There are these different things that you have to look out for when you're out here. But when they're in their welcome book, it's like, you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. A lot of people, they're out here on vacation. They're here to have a good time. Even if they flip through the book, they're not necessarily reading it. Whereas when it's on that back door, every time someone walks out the door, they see it. And a lot of times it's good for the kids, because if a kid sees it, they'll make sure to remind their parent, hey, turn off the lights for the turtles, turn off the lights for the turtles. So I think the window cling is a really effective thing that Kristen uses.
Then that's fantastic. And, something with interior light that I think we've been kind of alluding to, but maybe haven't said directly, is that it really does rely on kind of a mindset change as well as a human behavior activity, to remember to close your blinds at night or draw your drapes or something like that. If a window is tinted, of course, that's an added
Help.
benefit, but there is still that kind of component to it. So having those different tools available right on, the sliding glass doors, as you had mentioned, sounds like a really great way to help overcome this challenge where maybe if someone's walking out the door or they're looking at that, they see that kind of reminder to them that this is something that's important. We're in nesting season. We have turtles in, the backyard of this home that we're renting. And so what can we do to kind of better protect them? Is there anything else that you found that you might want to add as far as how to really overcome that, I guess, behavioral aspect of it?
One of the things is trying to get out the information to all the people that are out there. And that has been a challenge over the years. But one of the things that we've introduced in the past few years, other than just going to properties and dropping off materials, is we put it on our website. Here's where you can get materials, order some materials for free, and we'll drop them off so that you have them. And also providing them at events. A lighting workshop at the beginning of the season or a kickoff for the turtle nesting season, that kind of thing. And the code enforcement also provides the materials at City Hall. So it makes it make it available to people as best as possible. And the other thing is teaching people about sea turtle biology and just understanding the cues and why does my light inside the house attract them? Like they're looking for a moon over the water. It doesn't look like the moon. It's not that bright or whatever. And understanding that there needs to be a dark background in order for the hatchlings to, or the adults to find their way to the water is an important aspect of it. So we're trying to push that information so that they can get that contrast between dark and light. That's what they need. So you need to create darkness like a desert island where the background is nice and dark because of dunes and palm trees and vegetation, and the light over the water is kind of that movie screen effect that when you shut off your TV, you can still see the glow. It doesn't have to be super bright, but it has to be brighter than the dark background.
Tint is a great option, and you had mentioned turtle glass previously. I did kind of want to talk about what that was really quick too. So when we're talking about window tint, of course, it's a film or it comes installed in the windows themselves. That's going to reduce the amount of visual light transmittance that's allowed to escape back out those windows. So that means essentially, less light from your interior lights are going to be able to go back out onto the beach. So with turtle glass, we're seeing 45%, which means about half that light still allowed to escape back out. But the great thing about tint is that it kind of reduces that need for human behavior where it's always there. You always have tint on the windows, you're not removing it. Once it's there, it's there. But in order to, of course, fully block that light, you really do need some sort of maybe blinds or drapes or something. And have you, I guess, seen any push as things become more readily available, technology changes for any sort of automated blinds or something like that?
I have seen automated blinds getting to be more prevalent in the new construction. I'm not sure if you can put a timing system on it so that it automatically closes, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Our ordinance is for 45% is for the turtle glass, but I know of several builders that go above that on their builds, and they just go about justifying it not just for turtles, but it helps with privacy. It can help with cost savings with your cooling bill out there on a beachfront property that gets so much light every day. Um, so I have seen newer construction going above the 45%, going to 30 or more. And also for our ordinance, it's not just beachfront property. Our ordinance is any light that can be seen from the beach. So there's a lot of properties that aren't necessarily beachfront condos where I have to tell people if you're on your back porch and you can see the beach can see you back. And so just because you're a block off the beach and you're angled so that that you don't see much of the beach, you still have to um, be conscious of your light, interior and exterior.
Do you receive any pushbacks? People may be reluctant to tint their windows, or, I'm on vacation. Why do I need to close my blinds at night? I want to be able to see the ocean. Anything like that?
Um, yes, if it is from guests, it's I have to again just reiterate terms. A lot of them aren't even aware that turtle season is happening right now. So we have to not only show them that the nests are out there, or explain that to them, but the consequences that comes from um, having the lighting and just of being a beachfront property. Because if I get pushback on a guest like that, a lot of times then I'll just deal with the property owner, deal with the property manager. Because ultimately, if there's a violation or something that's going to come from this, that's who's going to get. That's who's going to deal with
Right.
not the renter.
And I think that's also why it's so great that you have this relationship, with Kristen's team, that they're out, on the beach. And as you had mentioned, Kristen, of course, it's a very exciting to be able to see a nest and to potentially see a hatchling if it's left in the nest, or to see the eggs, or if you're doing an excavation or whatever it might be, to have the audience captivated by this information and be able to speak with them at this time. It's such a great way to help educate them and, talk about any of these things that maybe they might be reluctant to, and how it's so important.
Yeah, it's really nice to have that cuteness factor and the actual thing there to see, because it really touches people. But it also, like, I remind myself and my volunteers that when we do have their captive audience, we let them know how they can help protect sea turtles. Like, they may not be able to be a turtle patrol volunteer, but they can help by reducing the lights, by reporting lights, and all the other things to help sea turtles.
That's wonderful. Even if, they're guests and they return back home to the Midwest, they could reduce their plastic intake and all these different things. So that's so great that you are able to have that and meet them on their level and talk to them about these things. I was wondering if you guys could potentially share any sort of maybe success stories that you've witnessed in your area. I know we've touched on some of these items, but if you have an example of maybe speaking with a resident or a visitor and you've seen a mindset change, or a particularly problematic lighting area be addressed, or any sort of maybe effective campaigns to help educate the community, or anything like that, that maybe you would want to share with us.
I can think of a few properties that had lots of windows and didn't have blinds or curtains that ended up putting blinds and curtains. Then we still deal with every week about them getting used. Um, but this year in particular, we've seen a lot of disorientations, but then a lot of corrections and fixes this year, just because the hurricanes that we dealt with last year, so much of our vegetation got taken away. So a lot of lights that have never had to be quote unquote turtle safe before, um, I've had to reach out to them this year, and I got a lot of. I've been here 10 years. I've never had an issue before. Why are you coming to me now? And so I've had to, remember that big sea grape bush that was here. It's not here anymore. So now this light's visible. So a lot of times they'll go ahead and not only change the light, but they'll go about, replanting, because it's not just good for the turtles and the light, but it holds the dunes together, it keeps the beach together. And these storms that we had in the last year opened up a lot of people's eyes, just because it was a lot of people lived there the whole lives, had never seen the flooding that we had here. So there's been lots of changes since then.
We've definitely seen areas of the beach that have gotten better over the season, and I think that it's working with the code enforcement and their great work with the people that have helped those areas where we were like, oh, they're always going to go underneath this house because of that interior light or something, and they end up, hey, there's a nest. It went straight to the water in that same spot, Jayson. Great job, that kind of thing.
Kristen does a good job, especially this year, where she'll let me know, hey, this nest is looking, the next week or so, we're thinking this nest is going to hatch. Go reach out to this property and just make sure that, make them aware of it. Say, hey, make sure this week you're keeping your blinds closed. Make sure this light is off, because the turtle nests that are out there are, and they get all excited when you tell them that. I tell them, I can't tell you the exact day, or we don't know the exact time, but we're thinking the next, soon that this next nest is going to hatch. And a lot of people, make their whole vacation to see a turtle nest hatch. And let them know about the rules. Still keep it dark. Don't block the pathway. Just give them space. And reach out to Turtle Watch if you notice anything, if any hatchlings not going the right way. But a lot of times, just that excitement of maybe they'll be able to get to see some turtles, and we did that a couple of times this year, and I think all those nests hatched without any issues.
That's fantastic. I think that lighting in particular is one of those really great things where you can make a very easy adjustment and it can have such a large impact that you are able to see right away. So you turn off your lights in your kitchen at nighttime and the whole, face of the building then becomes dark. If of course you have your exterior lights off as well, but we're talking interior lights, you turn those lights off and you can notice that it creates that back background, like Kristen was mentioning earlier, is so important for sea turtles to be able to make it to the water. So, seeing this direct impact where you had these problematic lights and then, these nests are able to make it to the water, like you're seeing that in specific lives changed right there, not only for the turtles, but of course for your guests, as you're talking about as well. And I think that's super powerful. And I guess kind of building off of that, what sort of plans do you guys have moving forward? So, you have this really amazing relationship between these two different areas, having this real community approach. What sort of things are you thinking about implementing in the future?
Jayson and I were actually just talking today about having kind of a debrief at the end of the season to just see what works best for us, what works best for them, and are we providing each other with the right information, or are we actually helping with the information we're providing, so that we can kind of hone what we each need and what will be the most helpful to provide to the guests and visitors to the island, so that they can be educated and understand right off the bat when they first start on the island. We do have some, like Jayson does a lighting workshop at the beginning of the season for all the homeowners and the property managers to come and learn about lighting solutions, learn about why lighting is important, and also be able to ask questions, because some of them just want to know, like they have valid questions about why do they have to do these kind of things. And then the other thing that we do is we do weekly talks at, all summer long. So, and we include the police department, the code enforcement, and our Turtle Watch volunteers do the talks, so that everybody has the option to, or ability to ask questions and learn from all those different agencies together. So those are things that we're working on, just trying to see what kind of other materials we can provide to educate people in the future.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and just repetition. This was our second year of doing Kristen's Turtle Talks at City Hall. I would say the standard audience size grew from the first year to the second year. We were regularly having 30 plus people, and I think that'll come next year. I think that'll just keep improving. And same goes to the lighting workshop that I do. I usually do around April time, just ahead of turtle season, just to try and give some people a heads up in order to retrofit some lights if they need to retrofit some lights, or and again, just field questions and just education. We invite Kristen comes out, FWC comes out. There we invite the other local code officers from the city of Anna Maria north of us, city of Bradenton Beach south of us, along with the county, and then we invite some vendors, and that way, not only can we're not just telling them what they have to do. We're showing them some example. With us being such a transient population, the people that live here know, the business owners out here, they know. But they're not in the houses every night, and they for the most part, they go above what we require as far as giving the information to their guests. I mean, not just the pamphlets and the clings that Kristen gives out. I've been in tons of houses where the whole house is themed for turtles. So a lot of property owners and homeowners really do care, and it's just getting the word out every year. We have a lot of repeat guests, so I think it'll get easier and easier. But it's just you just gotta stay on top of it.
And I think from, because you have so many visitors, I think, had you had said if there is a violation for whatever reason, that would go back to the homeowner. So talking to the homeowner and what sort of things that they can do and have in place already to address these issues so that they don't even become an issue. If you have the windows tinted already and you have blinds and drapes available to your guests at your home, having those different components can really help address these issues of interior light. And so I think that that's really wonderful that you're able to get at it from all these different angles and talk to, the homeowners and the guests and have them out on the beach and talk to them at their homes, and all of these different aspects is really, really wonderful. And I was also struck, I guess, also by the new construction you were talking about. So how, they're going even lower than what your ordinance requires currently for window tint. And I think that that's a great testament to how you can meet people on their level and get at what is most important to them. I guess I wanted to ask if there's anything else, I think we've discussed a lot of different topics, but is there anything else that you would like to add in particular for interior light in your area, or anything else that you wanted to mention?
It's an ongoing thing that it is getting better, but it's just repetition, getting the word out, and pushing for not just band-aid fixes, but for actual fixes. Because if someone's living at a house, they can say, "Okay, I just won't turn on this light." But with every week new people that being there, a lot of times, often than not, that light comes back on. So they can't just do the band-aid fix, which technically that would be okay. The light's not on, but we got to work on making it more a permanent solution so we don't have ongoing issues at the house. But overall, I think we do a good job. Our stakeholders in our community here really do care about the turtles. This is our city flag right behind us. We definitely care here at the City of Holmes Beach, but we can always get better, and we will.
We're always looking for new ideas or suggestions about how to best get to people, and especially getting to people when they first get here to the beach, so that they know about turtles before they even spend one night here is perfect, but not always achievable. We keep trying.
Well, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to speak with us here today. I really appreciate it. We're excited to have you on this episode of Lighting Deep Dives. And I just wanted to, I guess, mention, is there anywhere in either your departments or your organizations where people can find more information if they are traveling to your area as far as what to see about turtles?
Yeah, you can go to the City of Holmes Beach FL.org. The code enforcement page will have some information on turtle season. And also we're on Facebook as well, City of Holmes Beach on Facebook.
We have a website, islandturtlewatch.com is our website, and there's plenty of information about sea turtles on that website. We also have social media on Instagram and on Facebook, and we have a 24-hour hotline during nesting season, which is 941-301-8434, and that way people can reach us anytime, night or day, if they find a hatchling in distress or see something that they need to ask about with sea turtles that they're concerned about.
Awesome. Thank you guys for those resources, and thank you again for speaking with us today. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.